Alright, so after a couple of heavy informational videos, today's gonna feel like a breath of fresh air. No bureaucracy, no taxes, no paperwork, just options. You can move to the right region, build the exact lifestyle you want, and still end up overpaying 40 to 50% more simply because you chose the wrong city. Same region, same trains, same hospitals, same quality of life, but very different prices. So today I'm taking you on a tour of some of the most expensive regions in Italy to show you 7 towns and cities that cost far less than the places everyone is talking about. And no, this is not a move to the middle of nowhere list. These are very real, livable, and well-connected places. Places where you can actually build a life and not just take photographs on vacation. Same region, very different prices. So if Tuscany, Lombardia, Veneto, Lazio are on your dream list, but Florence, Milan, Venice or Rome prices aren't, this video is gonna open some doors you might not have considered, covering over 20 cities and towns across some of Italy's most expensive regions. So if you're planning a move seriously, this one is one you might want to come back to. When people think of Tuscany, they usually think of one place, Florence. And yes, Florence is beautiful, but it's also crowded, expensive, and increasingly hard to live in full time. But Tuscany is so much bigger than Florence. If you move just 1 hour away, the prices and the pressure drop dramatically. Arezzo is one example of the real Tuscany at very different price ranges. Rents here are often between 30 to 40% lower than in Florence, and buying property can be half price and sometimes less. And most importantly, Arezzo still feels lived in and not staged for tourists. This is Tuscany for people who want to live and not perform. But if Arezzo isn't your style, here are a few others in the same region with the same balance of cost and quality of life. You have Pistoia, you have Grosseto, and of course Livorno. Same region, very different prices. If Tuscany is the romantic trap, Lombardy is the practical one. And when people say they want to live in Lombardy, they usually mean Milan. And Milan does make sense if you actually need Milan. It's international, efficient, very well connected, and full of opportunities. But it's also one of the most expensive cities in Italy, with rents that no longer reflect normal Italian salaries or lifestyles. I think Bergamo is one of the smartest alternatives in the entire region. There are 2 distinct centers, the historic upper town and the very modern lower town. There are excellent hospitals and services, direct trains to Milan in about 50 minutes, and it's close to lakes, mountains, and a lot of nature. Rental prices are often 30 to 40% lower than Milan rental prices, and buying property will be dramatically cheaper. You still get Lombardia's efficiency, but with less stress, less noise, and much more space. Now, if Bergamo doesn't click with you, here are a few other Lombardia cities that follow the same logic. Brescia, Monza, and Varese. All of these give you access to the Lombardia ecosystem without paying Milan prices. And if you are from there, everyone watching this would be really happy if you drop a couple of towns in the comments that meet these criteria. Quick side note, this video was actually inspired by some of my Italian viewers telling me how expensive life in Italy has become. And look, I get it. Prices have gone up. But sometimes I think try living a year in London or Zurich or San Francisco for that matter, and then come back and tell me Italy is unlivable. Perspective matters. And by the way, if you're watching this and thinking, why just not buy a €1 house instead? That is actually the next video I'm working on. Because the €1 home is very real, but also very misunderstood. So I'm gonna break this down properly in my very next upload. For now, let's just focus on places where you can actually move in straight away without rebuilding them from scratch. Because €1 houses in Italy exist, but the reality behind them is very different from the fantasy. So if you are curious about that path, next video is coming up soon. And if you do want to catch it when it comes out, you just might want to subscribe to this channel. When people think about Campania, they usually think about Naples. And Naples is intense. It's brilliant, it's chaotic, and it can be overwhelming. For some people it's magical, and for others it's exhausting long term. And that's where many people go wrong, thinking Naples is the only way to experience Campania. Well, it's not. I believe Salerno is one of the most underrated cities in southern Italy. It's clean, it has a modern seafront, it has direct high-speed trains to Rome. There are good hospitals and services, and a very nice walkable center with real year-round life. Rents here are often between 40 and 50% lower than Napoli, and buying property again is dramatically more accessible. And now, if Salerno isn't your cup of tea, here are a few other Campania cities that will give you the same vibe. Avellino, Benevento, and Caserta. Same region, very different experiences. So if southern Italy is calling you, don't assume you have to live in the loudest city to belong. Sometimes the smartest move is choosing the second city and not the most famous one. Let's go to Rome, capital of Lazio and of Italy, of course. Rome is extraordinary, but it's also expensive, crowded, bureaucratic, and very exhausting if you're trying to build a normal, quiet daily life. For most people, Rome is an incredible place to visit, but it's a very hard place to live. I want to talk about Viterbo. I think Viterbo is one of the smartest alternatives in Lazio. It's a historic city with a real medieval center. It's much quieter and much greener than Rome. It has the direct train access to Rome and has very affordable rents and property prices. 3 other Lazio cities that fit the same profile are Rieti, Latina, and Frosinone. So if Rome is calling you, ask yourself if you really need Rome or just a Rome nearby. Next region, I'm gonna say Veneto. And of course, we're talking Venice here. And Venice, of course, is like anywhere else on earth. And it's one of the least practical places to live in full-time. High rents, very heavy in tourism. Logistically, it's a nightmare. And your daily life will be designed around visitors and not yourself. And yet, Veneto itself is one of the best regions in Italy. So I want to talk about Padova, which is exactly what Venice isn't. Elegant, livable, functional, excellent hospitals and a university, strong public transport, and easy access to Venice, Verona, and Bologna. Rents here are often half the price of Venice, with a far better quality of life. This is Veneto for people who want beauty and functionality. Other Veneto cities that fit the same profile, I would say Vicenza, Treviso, Rovigo. So Venice, it is unforgettable, but Veneto is livable. And this is forming a pattern you're probably catching up to now. Italy isn't expensive everywhere, but the default choices usually are. Same region, different city, very different life. But of course, there's the same question that always pops up after videos like this. What about the €1 houses? And that is what the next video is all about. Because €1 homes in Italy do exist, but the reality in them is very different from a fantasy. So if you like an adventure, you have renovation costs, time lies, hidden obligations, and you will know if they actually make sense to you. So if you're interested in the absolutely cheapest property path in Italy, it's coming your way. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it, and I'll see you in the next one.